founded the Coastal Exploration Company during the summer of 2016. The aim of the company is to facilitate access to the North Norfolk coast, a wild and beautiful area, so that essentially people can recharge on nature. And by this I mean disconnect from the modern world, so iPhones, iPads and computers can be left at home, and then allow people to immerse themselves in nature, so the strong tidal rhythms, the wildlife, the sea, the marsh and the creeks. And I think it just gives people the chance to recalibrate, to settle their minds with the fast moving world. I have 3 traditional North Norfolk wooden fishing boats. The oldest was made in the 1950s in the Norfolk yard in King's Lynn, and what I particularly like is that they're designed for this stretch of the coast. So for example, they're very beamy, which means they float easily across the bar coming in and out of harbour, and they also sit well on the sand. So this means that they're safe, and they're probably some of the most comfortable boats for the passengers. I also like the fact that these boats, and the ones that I have been used by some of the fishermen since this same period. So there's a connection with the coast, with the people, and there's a story there. The largest boat is the Welk Boat. It's gaff cutter rigged, it's wooden, it's open, and it's ideal for the sea work, the sailing along the coast as far as Thornham in the west and Cley in the east. I can take 8 people on this boat, and then for the overnight trips about 6 is best. It's got a lovely canvas tent, so people are warm, they're dry for the camping trips. The 20-foot lug-rigged crab boat again is good for going to sea in the calmer weather, but it's really a lot better for the navigation into the creeks, and in some cases you don't even need to go to sea to reach the next stave or harbour, because you can cut through the marsh. The smallest boat is a mussel flat which doesn't have an engine, and this boat really is good for the smaller creeks, which means there isn't anywhere along the North Norfolk coast that we can't reach. The food that we serve you on the trips is just as important as any other element. It'd all be locally sourced, and for example on the wild adventure trips, if possible, we'd try and catch it with you, gut it and prepare it. There are 4 key elements to what I offer. Wild adventure, so traditional sailing, teaching you or helping you to improve your navigation skills, land and sea based, but also trying to use nature and celestial navigation. Fitness through running, walking along the coast, and wild swimming, which we do love in some of the fast moving creeks through the marshes in the summer. And coastal fieldcraft, which is foraging for cockles and mussels, spear fishing for the flatfish, and line fishing as well. We can run a more relaxed, family orientated trip. We may take you out to one of the remote islands, perhaps one of the beautiful beaches or one of the quiet creeks, and support you with some good quality locally sourced food. Wildlife observation, either set up static stances on a boat in places you couldn't ordinarily access, or perhaps just sailing through one of the areas of abundant wildlife, and of course the seals as well. Moving cargo under sail is the final strand, and there's 2 elements to this. One, it's a great way to fine-tune your sailing skills because we make the commitment to move without the engine, but also it's trying to promote a sustainable way of delivering cargo and lessening the load on the roads through delivery through diesel trucks. The length of trip is typically determined by the tide, so either we go out for the tide, which would be 4 to 5 hours, or you could go for the whole day, which would be tide to tide, about 12 hours, or we do an overnight package as well, so 24 hours.